On January 27, 1973, Henry Kissinger, who was then President Richard Nixon's national security advisor, reached a truce with North Vietnamese representatives that called for the departure of American military personnel from South Vietnam. The agreement also called for the release of over 600 American prisoners of war held by North Vietnam and its allies within 60 days of the withdrawal of American forces. Welcome back to my channel. Before we proceed, please help us grow by subscribing. I guarantee you'll have the best videos, and I will make them more fun for you to watch and learn. This is your go-to channel for entertainment videos, celebrity news, and general life hacks. Please subscribe. Thank you for those who have subscribed. Lori Stirm, who was 15 at that time, was wearing her favorite pinkish miniskirt and felt as if she was in a dream as she sat in the back seat of a station wagon on the tarmac at Travis Air Force Base in California. On March 17, 1973, she finally saw her father, Lieutenant Colonel Robert Stirm, an Air Force fighter pilot who had been shot down over Hanoi in 1967 and had been either lost or detained ever since. She just couldn't believe that their reunion was about to happen. The teenager waited while her father spoke briefly in front of the jubilant audience on behalf of himself and the other prisoners of war who had returned from Vietnam as part of Operation Homecoming. She remembers that the minutes passed slowly, like hours. Then all of a sudden, the car door unlocked. "I simply wanted to get to Dad as soon as I could," says Lori. With her feet flying and her spirits soaring, she tore down the runway in his direction. Robert Jr., Roger, and Cindy, her 3 younger siblings, as well as her mother Loretta, were only a few steps behind them. "We had no idea when he would return," explains Lori. "In that instant, all of our wishes and prayers were granted." Slava Vader, an Associated Press photographer, saw the racing family and began taking photos while he was in a busy bullpen with hundreds of other journalists. "You could feel the electricity and the raw passion in the air," recalls Vader, who was 46 at the time and had spent a significant portion of the Vietnam era photographing anti-war protests in Berkeley and San Francisco. Since there were no shadows and almost ideal lighting, the day was cloudy. He hurried to the base's temporary darkroom in the women's restroom. Vader and his AP colleague Walt C. Bosky created 6 outstanding photos of that unique scene in less than 30 minutes. Vader's selection, which he immediately gave the title Burst of Joy, was aired across the news networks, printed in newspapers all over the country, and went on to win a Pulitzer Prize in 1974. It is still regarded as the period-appropriate homecoming snapshot. Stirm, 39, is shown in a brand new uniform after having to deal with gunshot wounds, torture, disease, malnutrition, and misery in notorious North Vietnamese prison camps like the Hanoi Hilton. Vader notes that the officer's back is to the camera, giving the impression of anonymity. He stands in for all the soldiers in Vietnam who would come home to the mothers, fathers, husbands, children, and sons they had left behind, as well as the hundreds of prisoners of war who were freed that spring. "I retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel and co-author of the Vietnam War. The Stories and the Photographs," Donald Goldstein, describes the photo of the Stirm family reunion as a hero's welcome for people who weren't usually regarded or treated as heroes. "After years of waging a war we couldn't win, a war that tore us apart, it was finally finished, and the nation could begin to mend." But the story was more complex than what was depicted in the film. A chaplain had given Stirm a letter from his wife addressed to Dear John 3 days prior to his arrival at Travis. Today, Stirm describes his feelings toward the image as being pretty indifferent. "Although there was a lot to deal with, I was really happy to see my children. I adored them all and still do. It took some time for us to bring my dad back into our life and accept his authority because so much had happened and he had lost out on so much," according to Lori. Within a year of his return, her parents divorced. In 1974, her mother remarried, and now she and her spouse reside in Texas. Robert worked as a corporate pilot and businessman after his 1977 colonel-level retirement from the Air Force. He got married and got divorced once more. He is retired now and resides in Foster City, California. After featuring in countless books, anthologies, and exhibitions, the Stirm reunion scenario has remained in the national consciousness for 3 decades, and frequently serves as a positive epilogue to the Vietnam War. The fact that the situation was far more delicate than we initially thought makes it even more tragic, and serves as a reminder that not all combat losses take place on the front lines. As Lori explains, we have this lovely photo of a very happy occasion, but every time I look at it, I remember the families that weren't reunited, and the ones that aren't being reunited today, and I think I'm one of the lucky ones. If you find my content interesting, why don't you click that subscribe button, like and share this video. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you think about this story in the comment section below. See you in the next video. Subscribe.